Hello, friends, and welcome back to another 31 days of reading The Invisible Man. Today is Chapter 7, Part 2. Get the feet, said Jefferson between his teeth. Mr. Hall, endeavoring to act on instructions, receiving a sounding kick in the ribs, then disposed of him for a moment, and Mr. Wadges, seeing the decapitated stranger, had rolled over and got the upper side of Jaffers, retreating toward the door, knife in hand, and so coiled with Mr. Huckster and the cider Monter Carter coming to the rescue of law and order. At the same moment came 3 or 4 bottles from the uh, chiffonnier and shot a web of pungency into the air of the room. All surrender, cried the stranger, though he had Jaffers down, and in another moment he stood up, panting, a strange figure, headless and handless, for he had pulled off his right glove now as well as his left. It's no good, he said, as if sobbing for breath. It was the strangest thing in the world to hear that voice coming as if out of empty space. But the Sussex peasants, and perhaps the most matter-of-fact people under the sun, Jaffers got up also, and protruding an pair of handcuffs. Then he stared. I say, said Jaffers, brought up short by a dim realization of the incongruity of the whole business. Darn it, can't use him, as I can see. The stranger ran his arm down his waistcoat, and as if a miracle, the buttons to which his empty sleeve pointed became undone. Then he said something about his shin, and stooped down. He seemed to be fumbling with his shoes and socks. Why, said Huckster suddenly, that's not a man at all. It's just empty clothes. Look, you could see down his collar and the lingers of his clothes. I could put an arm. He extended his hand. It seemed to meet something in midair, and he drew it back with a sharp exclamation. I wish you'd keep your fingers out of my eye, said the aerial voice, in a tone of savage explanation. The fact is, I'm all here, head, hands, legs, and all the rest of it. But it happens I'm invisible. It's a confounded nuisance, but I am. That's no reason why I should be poked to pieces by every stupid bumpkin in Imping, is it? The suit of clothes, now all unbuttoned and hanging loosely upon its unseen supports, stood up, arms akimbo. Several others of the men folks had now entered the room, so that it was closely crowded. Invisible, eh? Said Huckster, ignoring the stranger's abuse. Who's ever heard the likes of that? It's strange, perhaps, but it's not a crime. Why am I assaulted by a policeman in this fashion? Ah, that's a different matter, said Jeffers. No doubt you're a bit difficult to see in this light, but I got a warrant, and it's all correct. And what I'm afraid ain't no invisibility, it's burglary. There's a house been broken into and money took. Well, and under circumstances certainly point stuff and nonsense, said the invisible man. I hope so, sir, but I've got my instructions. Well, said the stranger, I'll come, but no handcuffs. It's the regular thing, said Jaffers. No handcuffs, stipulated the stranger. Pardon me, said Jaffers. Abruptly, the figure sat down, and before anyone could realize what was being done, the slippers, socks, and trousers had been kicked off under the table. Then he sprang up again and flung off his coat. Here, stop that, said Jaffers, suddenly realizing what was happening. He gripped the waistcoat, it struggled, and the shirt slipped out of it, and he left it limp and empty in his hand. Hold him, said Jaffers loudly. Once he gets the thing off, hold him, cried everyone, and there was a rush at the fluttering white shirt, which was now all that was visible of the stranger. The shirt sleeve planted a shrewd blow in Hall's face that stopped his open-armed advance and sent him backwards into old Toothsome and Sexton, and in another moment the garment was lifted up and becoming convulsive and vacantly flapping about the arms. Even as a shirt that is being thrusted over a man's head, Jaffers clutched at it and only hoped to pull it off. He was struck in the mouth out of the air, and incoherently drew his truncheon and smote Teddy Henfairy savagely upon the crown of his head. "Look out," said everybody, fencing at random and hitting at nothing. "Hold him! Shut the door! Don't let him loose! I got something here! He's here!" A perfect babel of noise they made. Everybody, it seemed, was being hit all at once. And Sandy Wages, knowing as every and his wits sharpened by a frightful blow to the nose, reopened the door and led the route. The others, following incoherently, were jammed for a moment in the corner of the doorway. Then the hitting continued. Phipps, the Untrarian, had a front tooth broken, and Henfairy was injured in the cartilage of his ear. Jaffers was struck under the jaw, and turning caught at something that intervened between him and the huckster in the melee, and prevented their coming together. He felt a muscular chest, and in another moment the whole mass of struggling, excited men shot out into the crowded hall. "I got him!" shouted Jaffers, choking and reeling through them all. All wrestled with purple faces and swelling veins against the unseen enemy. Men staggered right and left as the extraordinary conflict swayed swiftly towards the house door, then went spinning down the half-dozen steps of the inn. Jaffers cried in a strangled voice, holding tight, nevertheless, and making play with his knee, spun round and fell heavily undermost with his head on the gravel. Only then did his fingers relax. There were excited cries of "Hold him!" "Invisible!" and so forth, and a young fellow, a stranger in the place, whose name did not come to light, rushed in at once, caught something, missed his hold, and fell over the constable's prostrate body. Halfway across the road, a woman screamed as something pushed her. A dog, kicked apparently, yelped and ran howling into Huckster's yard. And with that, the transit of the invisible man was accomplished. For the space, people stood amazed and gesturingly, and then came panic, and scattered them abroad through the village as a gust scattered dead leaves. But Jaffers lay quiet, still, face upward and knees bent. And that was the end of Chapter 7, Part 2. Tune in tomorrow for Chapter 8. So, friends, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow us on social media, funkyplaybrothers and funkyplaybrothers. And please remember to help us by subscribing to our YouTube. Thank you for watching. Bye.